Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sports Line. You know what? I was just thanking Olive Oil's Pizzeria for getting this pizza for us. This is one of the best I've had so far. 412-831-1900. And thanks for warning me we're on. John the Tiger Kiger, can you pull a close-up of this? Did you get it? Call my man Ryan, who took care of me on this, and all of us. How's that pizza smoking, Jim? I know Zach waits till his is cold.
For those of you that don't speak English, it's good.
All right, we got a great sports talk show waiting for you. Somehow we're going to pull it out. This is our 201st live Tuesday night TV show. Thank you, Bethel Park. Thank you, everybody, for watching it. So I wanted to treat my guys here. Oh, man. Oh, no, I flipped one. It's a chocolate one.
That's okay. I got just the place for it.
Okay. Oh, Chipper. There you go.
Who got one first? Devin.
Devin got his first one. Do you get a close-up? Bethel Bakery. And I also have, we don't have 300, but we only got 200. Can you get that, John? Come on. Thanks, Bethel Bakery. They're delicious. Pass that down to the boys to pull one out there. I'll go last. If they want a 200,
give me that white on white.
Show them the 200. Better open that up.
Well, I'm going to get one of each.
That icing is delicious.
Oh, man, that's a ball.
You got the little black.
200 shows. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, guys, for being on the show.
That 200 look good.
I don't know. I wanted to give some to Dave Cable. You're not eating them all. Come on.
No, I meant the design look good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're watching your weight, right?
Get the heck out of here.
You're in training.
Hey, Zach, send that Pittsburgh Sports Line back down there.
I gotta start doing Pilates.
Hey, Zach, send that back down there. Can you cut his mic? I didn't get that. No. One. You can have one of these. Did you get one or two?
I took one.
Okay.
Oh,
I wondered why there was one less. I forgot.
That
All right. What's that?
Hell gave us permission for the 200.
They could get the 200.
200 calories.
Oh, man.
Well, this is live TV.
Give me that white on white.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Devin, how's your cupcake?
I don't hear anything in the control room.
All right. He said thumbs up in there.
Oh.
Oh, not that again.
We talk silently through
Hey,
beats.
it's a great day on BPTV in the community. Watch us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Verizon 32 everywhere from Nemacolin. Wow, they even kept a couple. Thank you, guys.
I thought you were going to say from Maine to El Paso.
No, we didn't get that. But we are in 50 states, and Chip, I did check on Facebook, 55 countries, and we now have 4,828 likes.
All right.
So thank you for that. We appreciate it. And we got boxing that's up there. People are watching that. And the Community Day's been posted. Check that out. I think I did 50 interviews, not sure, but you can see them all. A lot of great people. We appreciate all the help on Community Day and sponsoring our community and helping out like you do. So thanks, folks. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, Zach Brenner, Little Z, Brenner Contracting, and whatever else he's wearing when you see him throughout the city. And sometimes he doesn't have any Pittsburgh Sports Line gear. I could see that. So I guess there's a boycott down there. We haven't seen anything come out. He's always doing more for Pittsburgh Sports Line, but I'm still looking. So thank you very much this week. I can't wait to hear what he says about that in his defense. Dave Cable's watching this too. All right, we're going to start with what's on our mind. And if you haven't watched our show, that's our first opening segment. I'm going to start with Zach Brenner. What's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. I can't really tell you what's on my mind since Dave Cable was watching, but I wanted to show Smoking Jim. I was working on some notes to talk about the Pirates tonight, and I didn't get
Can
to
you
it.
show that again? Show that again. John, get a close-up of that. They teach them in Steel Valley how to write. Oh, I'm sorry.
Check back at the end of the show. You'll see the notes.
Did
come
you
out.
graduate?
Yeah, the class of 2002.
Okay, and that's what they're able to write when we give them a minute to talk about the Buccos. He didn't know it would happen like that. Now, what is really on your mind instead of that psychological warfare that you're losing?
Well, what's really on my mind tonight, folks? I'm excited for what is it, the 201st edition now, Al Levine?
Yes, sir.
201st show on Public Access TV. I want to give a huge round of applause and thanks to Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, everybody in the control room, Dave Cable, Devin, Aaron, Ward, and Devin Shea.
It got you.
Sorry.
That got me before.
Sorry. But
Don't
what's
forget
really
the
on my
Rookie of
mind
the
tonight-
Year.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, that goes without saying. Only Smoking Jim calls you the Rookie of the Year. I just call you the Tiger. But in the sports world tonight, what's really on my mind, the New York Giants decide to give all this money to quarterback Eli Manning. Now, I already knew ahead of time, prerequisite, that Eli Manning wasn't the sharpest knife in the block. But to tell the running back to not score a touchdown because that's what they think we're going to do at the end of a game is absolutely absurd. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the
I got to
New York
rebut
Giants
that when we get a chance because I wanted to bring that up
and
too.
Eli Manning for taking a huge dive. But in the earlier game today of 1 of 2, Smoking Jim Frazier against the Cubbies, the Pittsburgh Pirates take it at the end, almost surrendering it back. There's some claims that Clint Hurdle doesn't know when to leave his pitchers in there. He yanks them too soon and too early, which might have been the case today. Almost cost him, but it didn't. But hey, you know what? We're in a pennant race, and that's what's on my mind tonight, folks.
Great job, Rosie.
You know what? You covered all bases. I'm not mad at you anymore, even though you're not wearing any Pittsburgh sports line gear.
I'm Joey Strong.
Get the heck out. That's good. But that's no excuse. You tell me you do that all the time. Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
Hold it. I got one in
you
here.
got
Hold it.
to see Levine. Woo! That was a good one,
Look,
man.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
He had the one hand
Yeah.
that time.
Oh, man. What's on my mind is real quick is,
Why is it going to be quick? I'm eating pizza.
listen, I'm a little disappointed in what I've seen from Pittsburgh Steelers last Thursday night, and for a few obvious reasons. You know, first of all, the opening drive. You have Antonio Brown, who is being double teamed because nobody in the league hears about Hay Bay or Wheaton. And not only is he double teamed and being shadowed, but in the first drive where we're driving the ball down New England's throat, they throw him a bubble screen. So you already nullified anything, to even go to that side short again. And what does Todd Haley do? He comes up with a trick pass play for Antonio Brown that draws every defensive player on New England's team, and it pretty much took the Pittsburgh Steelers out of a scoring drive and totally out of a scoring play because they got a penalty after that. That was horrible. Also, you had former Pitt running back Dion Lewis, who's been completely out of the league for 2 years. Not only did he start for New England, but he played the whole game. Dion Lewis is all of 5'9", 190 pounds. Who is he going to block in blitz pass protection? That's number one. Number two, defensively, New England started, and I believe this is an NFL first. I got to check my Guinness Book of World Records. They started 3 rookies on their offensive line. I've never heard of an NFL team starting 3 rookies. Now, when you start 3 rookies, you can really confuse them. You should be blitzing them, zone blitzing them, confusing the offensive line. What does the Steelers do? And Keith Butler and Coach Tomlin, they go real vanilla and simple. Play into the hands of not only 3 rookie offensive linemen, but also 190-pound Dion Lewis. Pittsburgh Steelers, if Dick LeBeau was there, he would be grinning from ear to ear. Pittsburgh Steelers made a mistake defensively, and I think they'll make a mistake throughout the football season. And it was a mistake getting rid of Dick LeBeau, and it showed up big time in game 1, and that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I appreciate that. Gave you some time to eat some pizza, but it was too short. Chip, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. And what's on my mind is also the NFL. And it's not about the Steelers because we can address those in our Steelers segment and upcoming in the show. But what is on my mind regarding the NFL is my absolute disgust with what's become of the NFL. I personally boycotted watching a single minute of NFL football this past weekend because of how sick I am with the way this game has turned. And just let me kind of gloss over some of the highlights, or should I say the lowlights, of the product that the NFL is bringing to you. So now here you have an organization that not only does it condone cheating, they cover up cheating, okay, with Spygate, where our illustrious commissioner, Roger Goodell, sees to it that all the evidence from the Patriots cheating and the depth of their cheating gets destroyed so that nothing can ever come back onto them. And, and this is also something that the Rooneys and the Maras bought into, too. They were all involved in the cover-up. So nobody's free of blame here. Then, you cover up, you throw a little fine at them, you take a draft pick away, and you know what? For the Patriots, it's business as usual. They find any kind of way they can to skirt the rules, and they continue to do it, and they get caught, and what happens? You botch the investigation, nothing happens, and the Patriots continue to cheat. And oh, yes, by the way, they were at it again Thursday night with the headsets for the Steelers. They were monkeying around with them, and oh, by the way, when the referees went over to the Patriots sideline, all of a sudden, the Steelers' headsets started working. And when the referees walked away, they started hearing the Patriots radio broadcast. And the thing that I found most comforting about all this is that the NFL was going to do a thorough investigation. Famous last words for "we're doing nothing." And they cover it up. And after the game, they said, "We've done a thorough investigation, and we didn't find that the Patriots had anything to do with that." Well, geez, how could you do a thorough investigation in 9 minutes when you couldn't do one in 9 months? Okay? It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, this is the kind of an organization that talks about playing to the integrity of the game. There is no integrity in this game. It's all about, it's all about making money, and you know what? Since everybody's doing it, why have any rules at all? And then why try to enforce them? Because every time the commissioner tries to, he gets overturned in court. The commissioner is completely impotent, and besides that, he's a buffoon. And now you take it to the nth degree, as per Zach mentioned, that Eli Manning is telling his running back, with a 3-point lead and less than 2 minutes left in the game, and they're on the 6-yard line, tells him not to score on first down, not to score on second down, and throws an incomplete pass on third down to stop the clock. Okay? So now you've got people in the NFL that are actually involved in blatant point shaving. Yes, that's what I'm calling it. Point shaving, because anybody that had money bet on the game, he took a beating because of that. But, and then after the game, so he covers for the coaches didn't tell me to do it. I did that all on my own. Well, geez, that's the thanks he gets for getting that $84 million contract. I think the NFL has become a complete laughingstock, and I've always been a fan of football, and I will continue to be. But I just have no faith in their ability to put a quality product on the field. And I don't believe anything any of them say. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Well, some of it I wanted to cut some emotion out of it. There's a lot of gambling. There always was. A lot of people have been naive for their whole life in football, Smoking Jim, even though he's a gambler. But that's another story. Now, you can call me wrong on this, but I recall many times when time's running out, some of the smarter teams would actually have their running back run the ball, not get a touchdown, and then they'd run it for a third time in the line Or they'd have a tight end that's putting his hands up and they throw the ball and there's a penalty. Whatever Eli did, it shows that some of it's incompetence. He thought the right thing. First down you score, they couldn't stop Romo. I know you hate to hear they couldn't stop Romo. That's where I think the fix come in. How does he run down the field?
You got a
like
3-point
that?
lead, so you put the 7 up, that's 10.
You put 7
They
up, you
can't
put him
put
down
two
2
possessions.
scores.
You
instead of
missed
one.
my
Two possessions.
you missed my point. Usually there's a penalty around there when you're throwing. If you did it on second down, you would have had a penalty and you may have stopped the clock or whatever, but you can still run another time. What does that even matter? And you go in there on third down. That's what they've done. You've watched football so many times that you do know this comes up. Just because of a $100 million turnaround on the 7 points that I predicted on our show, I mean, I can't help it, guys. That happens. So what I'm saying is, yeah, Eli went a little crazy there, but the worst part about it was his third down play.
Well, you know,
That's the worst part about it.
to me, now I'm just a humble fan of professional sports,
Yeah, but you know the
amateur
sport.
sports. But tell me if this sounds really out of the realm of possibility. You're trying to run the clock down. Dallas is running out of timeouts. How about try running the ball 4 times from the 6-yard line? If you don't make it, they got 99 yards to go the other way with no time left on the clock. I mean,
And no Des Bryant.
Well,
Brian's
I mean,
fine.
I'm just saying.
I agree with you. That's part of what I'm saying.
It
If
stinks.
you ran the ball,
It stinks from the head down.
wow, sounds like a dead fish. All right, we killed that subject, and if you haven't bet yet in your life, don't start because you can see corruption everywhere, at least on our show tonight. So, and we can show you every angle of it, good and bad. So some will support it, some won't. I still am shocked that Romo could drive him down the field like that. It was like a knife through hot butter, so, or hot knife through butter. So, well, that's it. We'll go with some of our segments now. First one up is, hope it's not a short one, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, and it is to be kind of short today. You know, going all the way back to Friday night. Friday night was
Is that way back?
Friday night was a historic night.
You went to a Gateway game, first time in 20 years?
In my life. And I tell you what, from Keystone Oaks to Baldwin to Steel Valley, you know, everybody wants to play Gateway. And over the years, I've talked to Major Harris and Rod Rutherford and Dap Porter and Mark Hogan and Major Harris, and they all said that when they were in high school, they always wanted to play Gateway. They always thought, Dr. Hart, that they could beat Gateway. Well, for the first time in the history of the University of Gateway, they played a City League team, Perry High School, which won the City League championship 7 times in the last 15 years. And by halftime, the score was 42-0 Gateway. So for all you guys out there, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. And that's the Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Historic moment, City League versus WPIL for the first time.
First time ever.
First time ever.
Wow, you were so quiet about
You got
that,
some on
too.
your cheek.
You were too quiet. All right, Chip, let's go to Chip's Trivia Time.
Okay, well, thank you, Alan. And first, I'm going to do a kind of an abbreviated baseball trivia. Then I've got some trivia regarding high school football that I will knock your socks off. So let's go right ahead with the baseball trivia. September 15th, 1938. This is a brothers trivia kind of thing right here. And by brothers, I don't mean like the brothers. I mean brothers, fraternal brothers, right? Okay, brothers Lloyd and Paul Wainer, who were affectionately known as Big and Little Poison in the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, yeah.
Hit back-to-back homers for the Pirates off Cliff Melton of the New York Giants. This was the only time brothers hit successive home runs in a major league game, and it was Lloyd's last homer of his career. Okay, September 15th, 1963, and one of these guys played for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the mid-'60s. All 3 Alou brothers, Felipe, Matty, and Jesus, played in the outfield at the same time for the San Francisco Giants in a 13-5 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, now, and next I got one here from my good friend Alan Levine.
All right.
One of his favorite ball players of all time, Sandy Koufax.
Yeah.
On September 9th, 1965, Sandy Koufax threw the 4th no-hitter of his illustrious career, which at the time was a major league record that finally got broken by Nolan Ryan, who threw 7 in his career.
Oh, yeah.
Sandy Koufax, unfortunately, didn't have a very long career, but for a while he pitched in the major leagues. He was probably the best left-hander that ever pitched.
That is true. No argument there, Chip.
Okay,
know he was
Robin
left-handed.
Yount on this same day in 1992 came the 17th player to hit his 3,000th hit. Robin Yount was a shortstop for the Milwaukee Brewers. Denny McLain on September 14th, 1968, became the last and the first pitcher to win 30 games in a season since 1934. Denny McLain won 31 games that year and guided the Detroit Tigers to the World Series against Bob Gibson's St. Louis Cardinals. Now, some more Pirates trivia. The Pirates, Ralph Kiner led the National League in home runs 7 times. How many times did he lead the league in RBIs? Once.
No
in
way.
1949 with 127 RBIs. Led the league in home runs, didn't lead it in RBIs. Now, on September the 12th, 1947, one of the years where he led the league in home runs, Ralph Kiner of the Pirates hit 2 home runs, his 7th and 8th in 4 games for a major league record. 4 games, he hit 8 home runs. Quite a feat.
Yeah.
The oldest player to ever play in Major League Baseball, Alan will remember this name, Minnie Minoso.
Yeah.
Singled in 3 at-bats as a designated hitter for the Chicago White Sox. At 53, he became the oldest player to get a hit in a regulation game.
Many.
Minnie Minoso.
He's related. He's a cousin on your mother's
Yeah,
uncle's side, just so you know.
And 2 more,
researched it.
Carl Yastrzemski, September 12th, 1979, got his 3,000th hit. And another little piece of Pirates trivia, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Pirates 5-4 on September 11th, 1959, ending Elroy Face's 22-game winning streak. It was his only loss of the season in which he went 18-1. So now to get to the trivia that I thought just was absolutely amazing. And Friday night in high school football, Meadville High School, which is a Class AAA school, and Du Bois High School, which is a Quad A school, played a football game, and the final score of that game was 107-90. Okay?
Tell them about the running back.
I will tell you about all of this stuff. There were quite a number of records that were set in this game, and just to kind of gloss over one here let's just see, which one was it? Meadville set a national record with 1,004 yards all on the ground. Meadville did not complete a pass in 3 attempts. Meadville's Journey Brown rushed 30 times for 722 yards, second most in United States high school history. Du Bois' Matt Miller completed 31 of 54 passes for a national record of 788 yards.
Wow.
Now, individual records that were set in this game, and I will also include the team records here. And I want to thank Cheryl Carlin for bringing this to my attention because she went to Du Bois High School, and she brought this all to my attention when I made a comment and shared this on Saturday morning, and I would thank you very much for bringing it to my attention, and I let her know that I would use it on my trivia segment this evening. So here we go. Most rushing yards in a game by Journey Brown's state record, second nationally, 724 yards. Most points in a game, 68 by Brown. That's a state record. Most passing yards in a game, 782. Matt Miller, Du Bois, state and national record. Most receiving yards in a game, 358 by Colin Reed, Du Bois, state record. Most yards in a game, 785 by Miller, state and national record. Most TD passes in a game, 10 by Miller, state record, tied the national record. Most TDs accounted for by 2 individuals in a game, 21 by Brown, 10, Miller, 11, state and national records. Team records that were set. Most points scored in a losing cause, 90 points by Du Bois, state and national record. Most yards in a game by one team, 1,005 by Meadville, state and national record. Most yards in a game by 2 teams, 1,914 by Meadville and Du Bois, state and national records. Most rushing yards in a game by one team, 1,005 by Meadville, state and national record. Most passing yards in a game by one team, 782 by Du Bois. That's a state and national record.
I put an asterisk next to that.
I don't think
All
know.
of them, every
Why?
single category, because it's an abomination, and that's the coaches should be fired, the athletic director should be fired, everybody should be cleared out and fired. Smoking Jim,
Well,
that's a basketball sport. That's ridiculous.
I beg to differ with you,
atrocious.
Zach. I think the
I'm
young
not
athletes
celebrating
should all
that.
be commended for
Heck
their
no.
efforts.
Heck no.
Because
Come
that
play
is
some
an
boys.
amazing. That is an amazing thing. They said
Never
that the
gonna
game
win a
was even
championship.
painful to watch, but I mean, can you just imagine? There was a touchdown scored like every
Joke.
1 or 2 minutes in that game. So hey, you know what? It is an accomplishment, one that may never be matched. And I think it's worth noting. That's my trivia for this
When
week.
you don't want to match.
Thanks, Chip. Hey, Zach, maybe we can have a discussion. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Hey, cheating has nothing to do with that. I mean, to me, that's just there's no technique, there's no defense. It sounds to me like they were playing the Pro Bowl a little early, Smoking. You know, it was a
You know
prep
what,
school
Zach?
game.
I look at things a little differently.
Clareton puts up 75 points weekly. You know what I mean? I don't really applaud that. Still Valley just put up 60, and I went on Interscholastic TV at my own alma mater and stated for the record that if we cannot do that against Beaver Falls, and Aliquippa, I don't care about scoring 60
Well,
points on
What
these
name
style
did
games.
you
Zach-
use on TV?
Zach Brenner.
Okay.
Here's the thing
we
that
pull
you
that
have
up?
to look at,
Yeah.
Zach. This is the way that that football is gravitating towards, and I think this kind of highlights it quite well. This is what they do to young gentlemen when they're starting to play football in high school. They teach them how not to tackle. And after they teach them how not to tackle in high school football, it gets worse when they go to college. And then once they've mastered the art of not tackling in college, then they become pros and become millionaires. So I think this is a great way of starting people out on their careers because, I mean,
Well, it's a great trivia for one reason and one reason only. So those records will probably never, ever be broken. And the reason is, like you said, Lil Z, Clareton scored 75 points in one game. Still Valley 62. But by halftime, the mercy rule's on because it's one team dominating the other team. You'll never see, there was no mercy rule because the game was competitive.
And it was
So nobody, usually when you score that much, you are so much better than your competition that, you know, when I was at
they
the,
leave the clock run.
when
They
I was
don't
at the
stop it.
Gateway game, it was so fast in the second half. They're winning 42-0. Now you can't turn on the mercy rule till the second half, and the clock never stopped except for timeouts.
Now, what is
know.
the score have to be? You have to be ahead by what, 35?
35.
35 points, and then they
But
don't
they
shut
can
the
only
clock
do
off.
it. They'll start doing it in the second half, not the first half. So the second half went so fast.
But I
man.
mean, you know, both teams.
I was
it's
trying
just
to
like-
call a timeout, man. I wanted to
But
see
can we
more.
say? But can we say this though? So let's say for whatever reason, it was Du Bois versus
Meadville.
So let's say Du Bois or Meadville happen to make it into the playoffs or whatever, and they really got to play. They're not playing one another. Now you're playing somebody. You might get stuck against Clareton or somebody like that coming out of Solid. Now you're gonna get thumped. You're gonna get throttled because look at like to me, like I said, I just think
Yeah,
it's
but
a
who
joke.
cares?
I think it's a joke.
Who
Well,
cares?
it means two
because
teams
we're
would never
looking
face
about
each other in the
Head
playoffs.
trauma.
because
We're
they're-
looking at
they're
injuries. We're
triple
looking at
A
all
and
kinds
quad
of
A.
stuff. You gotta
No
be
kid
realistic.
got hurt. Did they scoring all those points?
I'm not saying somebody got hurt this game. I'm saying down the road somebody's going to get hurt because of
Boy,
shenanigans
do
like
you
this.
think that they're more confident because they had records that'll never be broken, that they think they can beat other people? When they don't match up, they're going to get beat. That's what happens in the sport. You of all people know that. Think about it.
But you don't think, Al Levine, though, do you think that this was a game that should be celebrated? I don't think it's a game
For
that
those
should be
communities, if they're
Well,
Absolutely.
for the communities, but I'm talking about for the game itself.
I tell you what, I was at a game.
Well,
and
look
this
what the
is-
NFL's becoming. You're telling me you can't
We're trying to
recognize
get it
this?
at the high
But-
school level.
But I was at a game in West Virginia one time, and this was part of your trivia because if you look it up, probably I was at the game where the guy tied 10 touchdown passes.
Yes.
The state championship, best quarterback ever seen in high school football history was former Pirate J.R. House. J.R. House threw 10 touchdown passes in the state of West Virginia state championship game to win a state title. And that guy probably tied. Matter of fact, he threw 11 because his first pass was intercepted and went for a touchdown.
So he was
way. I
helping
don't
the
know.
other team,
Yeah, so I don't
too.
know if that counts, but sometimes teams are just that good,
Hey, you know what? It happened. I think it's worthy of recognition, and let's move on.
And that's a good
Did
shout out.
anybody see the film of the game? I'd like to see that video game.
Hey, Pitt ought to start
I'm
recruiting
sure,
some of
I'm
those
absolutely
guys.
certain if you go on YouTube,
Pitt
you'll
needs
find
a
it.
I'll
running
have to
back.
check it out.
That running back got to come to
They
Pitt,
need a
right?
quarterback too.
All right.
Well, they got 2 now, right?
Yeah, maybe Peterman will be all right. All right, let's see what Z-Time really has here.
Well, like
You didn't
me,
give him a chance.
like me and Smoke and Jim were debating last night, and I'll say it again when he says that we don't want to be great, we just want to be 8-8. When you look at the current constrictions with the salary cap, there's only so much money to be divvied up and to go around. And when you have a bulk load of your cap money tied up in the offensive line, because we knew if we don't have Ben, we're not going anywhere no matter what. Who cares about the defense? If we can't keep number 7 healthy, it doesn't matter who's on defense. Look at it. How many games we won because of the defense? No, we win because of number 7 under quarterback. That's why we win, because he has found a way to not turn over the ball and not cost us games. But like I said, when you have a majority of your money tied up in 84, 7, 26 in the offensive line, there's going to be somewhere that's going to take a hit. Look what's taking a hit. The punter. I don't know who this kid is. I don't know if he's tested. We traded a perfectly good guy to the New York Giants that was punting fine on Monday night. Gone. Wing, gone. Got this other guy because the numbers, then we would save money. It would be cheaper to keep this guy off the street than to keep Wing. So we shipped Wing out. Then Sweezum decides to make a meaningless tackle in a meaningless preseason game and hurt his leg, probably costing himself his career. His career's probably over now. Goodbye. See you later. So then we trade for another guy. We traded for a cornerback that didn't even start for us on Thursday. So I just think that you gotta, like they try to do with the Pirates or whatever, with the way they spend their money. But the way the Steelers have spent their money, they've tied most of it up on the offense and not put a precedent on the defense. And that's what you have right now. We got a bunch of bums on defense, except for Cam Hayward and Timmons. And then everybody else is, like Smoke and Jim said, are cast-offs from other teams. But when you
Trash, he said.
when you tie most of your money up on the offense, this is what you get. And I do think that there's some promise. I think, Butler has yet to really get it dialed in with his defense. I'm hopeful that he does get it dialed in, or it'll be a quick exit for Keith Butler.
Well, let me ask you this. You say what you're trying to say is that the Steelers are guilty of the same thing the Pittsburgh Penguins are doing?
Sounds similar.
Mm-hmm. Tying up all your salary cap money in 4 offensive players.
Well, what it sounds like to me is what the Steelers are notorious for doing. They'll call all the TV shows and make sure they get one person on the panel to
Well, since it looks
Say
like
good
we're
things about
segueing
this
into our
cover
show,
I'm not getting anything.
I'm
not getting anything.
I've got some comments to make about the Steelers.
We all do because they're rebuilding still.
They're not getting anything for the Buccos.
Go ahead.
All right. We done there, Z?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Smoking Jim clapped. I forgot. I missed the signal. I don't know what he was clapping about.
Neither did he.
Well, we got on location, but I forgot to put. I was eating that great pizza from Olive Oil's Pizzeria.
I see.
412-831-1900. Give him a call. Thanks, John. Now we have Pino's Palette. Chip was telling me last week, if you have a drink and paint, it's a great day.
I want to try that.
Smoking Jim, it costs $35.
I don't want to be around you if you drink.
They're doing fundraisers, and he's never drank, so I don't know why he'd even say that. He mustn't have listened to anything. Okay? Bring your own bottle, Smoking Jim, of ginger ale. Pino's Palette in Lawrenceville. Check out my friends there. It's a great place. Now we got another thing for Bethel Park. This is right up your alley, Smoking Jim, when you put the makeup on. The Zombie Walk of 2015. Woo! Saturday, October 24th, 4 p.m. Bethel Park High School upper parking lot. $10 per participant. This is the fundraise for the Bethel Park community. And that'll be October 24th. We'll have more information. Check it out. And I'll keep doing it each week. Then, Smoking Jim, I told you I had a photo that I have on my refrigerator. Could you get a close-up of this? Can you see what year it is? You can keep that, Chip. You get him? Smoking Jim,
Wow.
Can
Is
you
that
see
your
what
dad?
year? You don't even know where he is.
Which one's your dad?
He's 17 years old right there.
Good looking guy, man.
Whoop,
Looks like it says
17.
Homestead on that photo.
I had talked last night, but not everybody can listen or hear the sound, so I understand that with the PA system. I said he played out of Homestead, and Smoking Jim said, "What, for the Homestead Grays?" That was one of the dumbest statements that was ever made
Well,
on
no, their
Pittsburgh
u-
Sports Line.
Their uniforms were white when they started, but because of the pollution from the still mills, they were gray by the end of the game.
Exactly. But yeah, that was one of the things he said. You might have missed that, Zach, because he says a lot of stuff that,
What was loud
Good look.
last night?
yeah, it was a nice crowd there, too.
It's a handsome man there.
Thank you.
Which
thank
one's
you.
Tiptoe?
He's a young
Right
kid.
here.
Little kid there. He told me he was 5'9". That's at 17.
Oh, he was
I
definitely
don't
a
think
point
he ever
guard.
made 5'7", which was on his military card. Now, we had one of the greatest guests we ever had on Pittsburgh Sportsline. He's an international. He's a national star. He's a jazz musician that he's been with everybody. Did we talk about any music? Nah, not really. We didn't have to. Dr. Lonnie Smith was walking up to the table with a cane. Now, we were Pittsburgh Sportsline first show at the Park House. You know, it's an old establishment, great place, a lot of nice people. Dr. Lonnie walks up with a cane, very negative. I didn't know how I'd get through to him, so I found common ground. His daughter, Time, who's been on there on our show, and a friend of mine, said she liked basketball. Guess what? Her dad did too. But he didn't play officially, right, Smoking Jim?
That's right.
He had to learn his own style, some fluky style he called. The video's up. I posted it, Dave Cable. Thanks for getting that up today. So it's up there on Facebook. It's on YouTube, and it'll be on TV tomorrow night. So you'll see Dr. Lonnie Smith showing us a fluky move, stealing the ball, 360 layup. That was one of his favorite moves. And he had a vertical leap where he's not that tall. He could touch the rim.
Wow.
So he must have been quite an athlete. But you got to Google him and check out what he plays. He's one of the best pianists, organists, and he can also sing. So check him out. And that's what happened at On Location. We'll be back there on the 28th. We'll have another great lineup of guests. And I wanted to tell you guys, I posted a picture because I'm getting ready to leave, you know, Smoking Jim. So I'm talking to a couple people that are there because they want to know what we're even doing there. And they'll be back. And all of a sudden, this guy comes like hurrying in the door. It's our friend Mike McSorley. Do you know?
Really?
Yeah. I
Wow.
posted on Facebook. There's a photo. The bar manager, Rafi, took a photo of us. It's up there on, you know, the internet, Facebook.
Oh, that's
We ended up talking till over 12 o'clock. Sammy Vasquez will be fighting in the next hour or so, and it'll be on Fox Sports.
I thought we had a segment for that. That's why I didn't make mention of it. I'm sorry.
Well, there's like a problem that when you want to do something, it's okay, and then you think what I want to do that it's not okay, and there will be a segment on that with boxing, just like you snuck in a professional segment when we had a huge amateur fight card that was one of the best in the city at the Priory Hotel. But that's why we all have our opinions and we try to put stuff out there. So Mike was talking about, you know, Sammy and his career and just how things are going, and he's just great to be part of that team. I told him, and he's a modest man, that he's one of the best cut men I've ever seen in a ring. People have like a 1-inch gash where you think their face, they're going to be bleeding like crazy. He stops the blood. And Sammy's last fight where he got headbutts and everything, he told me the cut he had on his head that needed staples to hold it closed actually didn't bleed much, even though he could see his skull.
Wow.
That's how tough Sammy is. When people were saying, why was he going back in there and trying to knock the guy out? That's how tough he is. He's a family man. He served a couple tours of duty, and he's going to be fighting tonight. After our show, turn on Fox Sports, but you still got another 18 minutes and 25 seconds, and we'll talk about some of the other guys on the card because I've been getting messages all day if we're coming out. So maybe Zach will take a run out. I said he's the only one.
One of the things that Sammy learned about that the sport that he's in, don't let the referees determine the outcome.
Good point.
And that's what most fighters will tell you if you can. So good memory, Chip. That's the On Location that we have happening there. And One other thing I did want to bring up, there's a 5K with the Joey Fabus 5K and like superheroes. So check that out. It's Sunday. It's $25 donation. They're over 500 some people. They may hit 700 before Sunday. We'll be filming that. I'll be doing interviews, and it starts at 9 o'clock. It's 5K up near the high school, I think it is, and check that out. That's all I got there. Let's start a Steelers segment because I'm still upset that the Steelers couldn't win a game when they brought a kicker in who was supposed to be pretty good. That's what started the whole night off for me. I'm like, they're not going to lose by 60, but they're going to lose because they never looked like they could win the game.
Here's the thing. Here's what my take is on this. And I didn't watch one single second of the game. I was watching AJ Burnett pitch that night because I had more interest in what the Pirates are doing than what the Steelers are. But, there's always the complaints about Bill Belichick and the Patriots and the fact that they cheat. And it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Everybody knows they do it, and they're going to continue to get away with it. But here's the thing that Bill Belichick does with his teams. He makes sure that his team is prepared for anything that could possibly happen. So, for example, if he has to turn his headsets off because they're monkeying with the other teams, they already know how to communicate on the field to the players to one another without having any of the audio in their ears. So they practice this every day so that when it does happen. Now here's the Steelers. The one thing that Tom Brady said about the Steelers is that they were having trouble communicating. Nobody knew what their assignments were and what they were supposed to be doing. And this just makes me scratch my head and say, we got OTAs, we've got minicamp, we've got 6 weeks of training camp, and these guys don't know where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to, or how to communicate with one another. And if this is the way the defense is going to play, it's going to be a really long year. I think it's kind of comical that a professional sports enterprise the lack of communication, forget about, the quality of the athletes, but if the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, how are you ever going to win a game?
Well, Chip, you didn't watch the game.
You didn't watch the game.
But the announcers said early in the game that they changed the scheme in the defense so some of the players that had experience could communicate, but they weren't sure if the other guys would be able to understand what they were communicating. They basically said that during the game. And it didn't matter about the headsets. That's an excuse.
No, it is.
Because
that's not the reason why they lost the game.
No, it isn't. And not your excuse, but, it's other people's excuses. Because don't they have hand signals in college? Don't they have coaches that can tell somebody on the sideline, hey, I'm sending this tight end in, and we're going to do a play? I mean, you can't do that. And then you're telling me that you guys are ready to make a statue, and I mean Smoking Jim and Zach, for Big Ben. Are you telling me he's not as competent as Terry Bradshaw to call his own play? Now I'm outraged. I feel that now we have more problems that are much deeper. It's beyond rebuilding, but you guys are making statues for him, and Big Ben can't see the defense.
When Big Ben was running the no-huddle, calling his own plays, everybody was upset that he was overruling the offensive coordinator and the head coach.
Who's everybody? Not me.
Not me.
The mainstream media, Smoking Jim, knows that part of it.
Well, who are they?
Well,
they're on the payroll.
Here's my point. When you're going to play the New England Patriots, is there one person on their offense, like say a receiver type person, whether it be a tight end or a wide receiver, that you would think should be double covered on every play?
Probably Gronk.
Okay. How do you let him go uncovered in the red zone and let him score 3 touchdowns against you? I would dare anyone else on that team to beat me. I would drape 2 people off him, one around his ankles, one hanging off of his shoulder pads because our 5'5" defensive backs can't reach a 6'7".
No, but here's what's worse.
True.
They come out in the media and they said, if you hit Gronk early, you take him off his game. I didn't see anybody within 5 yards hitting him or even holding him. Guess what? I would have taken a penalty.
Alan, he's going into the second game of the season. He hasn't been hit yet.
Well, that's because he played the Steelers. You're stating the obvious.
But,
and all that aside, we were still in that game.
That's what I said.
We were still in a position to win, even with the kicker, betting against us. And
everybody else?
And that was with, let's keep in mind, there's no Maurkice Pouncey. There's no
Those are
Bell
excuses.
or number one running back.
Those are all
Hold it.
excuses.
The standard used to be the standard. What you're bringing up is excuses that other teams used to use.
Here's what the problem was. They couldn't finish their drives. They couldn't score 7 points. They had to attempt field goals. They got missed. Subsequently, they
Those are
lost
key
the game.
elements to your main offensive
Well,
lineman.
Hold it. What happened to the next man up?
Zach, those are excuses.
Those are things you can't.
Th-
Sometimes
those
you
are-
can't replace.
It's next man up. The next
Yeah.
guy
Well,
up needs to produce.
The next man up. I mean, somebody goes down, you got the Tiger up next. What do come on. Not
Hey,
everybody
you know what?
What
is
are you
all
bringing
pro.
my man the Tiger in on this?
Not
Here,
everybody's
eat a
all pro.
cupcake.
Zach, I mean, the fact of the matter is the people that weren't there on the field weren't there. They knew they weren't going to be there. They practiced without them being there. They should have been prepared to play.
They were prepared to play. You didn't even watch the game.
I've been listening, Zach. I've been listening to what everybody's been saying about it since.
I
I
watched
read.
the whole
Okay,
game.
I read
watched
every day. I
preseason
read a
game.
lot, and from my observation, from what other people have said about the game, Steelers weren't ready to play Thursday night.
Wow, then that reflects the coaching.
Bingo.
Unbelievable.
And despite the coaching, they were still in it. And the players and the kicker and everything
Yeah,
else.
but that's
they're still
parity
in
in
it.
the
So I
NFL.
feel good. If the mark is the
Oh, you're
defending
happy
champions,
then? So
yes.
this isn't bad.
No, it's
Wow.
not bad. It's not bad at all. We got some things we got to work out. We didn't get destroyed in New England. We lost in New England.
Well, that game, the game was not as close as the final score dictated. I mean,
The Steelers
the
was
Steelers were down by 18 points most of the game. They didn't score until real late. They
Hey,
scored a
Zach.
touchdown with 2 seconds left.
Zach, I tried to watch the whole game, and I did most of it, except I flipped to see Pirates and all that a little bit. But I never once felt, I know you've watched a lot of sports and been involved in it, I never felt that the Steelers could win the game. And all their playing and everything else, they just didn't have that spirit that I felt they would win the game. They didn't. And all this stuff come late that, they come back because New England had rookies that weren't playing
you must
well.
admit, though, there was a drive in the second quarter before the half where the clock was we probably mismanaged the clock a little bit.
Not probably.
We settled
Yes.
for a field goal.
Yes.
But you know what, though? Before halftime, you asked me, I said, look, we missed 2 field goals. All things aside, blown coverage or whatever on Gronk, we're still in this game. And I felt like we could win it.
Not
We
me,
could- well,
because I saw the difference in play. The defense, they didn't look like they could stop anybody. It looked like New England would stop themselves. I've watched too many games, and when you see the other team with a quarterback like Brady, whether you hate him or not, I mean, he can throw the ball, he can get it to other people, and he hates getting hurt, but somehow he wins.
Well, I just couldn't believe that Dion Lewis came off the street and was running like that for being
I'm
out of
happy
like
for
2
him. You
years.
guys are disrespectful of him.
Oh, I'm
He
a
got
pick.
it.
I'm a pick.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that
I'm a
yet.
pick.
All right, we got to at least touch some Buccos because they're playing. I heard they were losing 1-0.
They were losing 1-0 in the bottom of the second.
And for the
2 games
Sandbox
back.
boys,
2
they were
games.
losing 1-0 in the first game after the first at bat with the Cubbies.
And the interesting thing is about this team has got such incredible depth. Even Sunday afternoon, they were down 6-1. And at no time during the course of that game did you feel like the Pirates were out of it. And of course, they managed to come back, tie the game, win it in extra innings. This Pirate team is stacked and it's ready to go. We've got 19 games left. We're sitting 2 back from the St. Louis Cardinals. 87-56. We're 31 games over 500. Actually, the Pirates' magic number to secure, at the very least, a playoff spot is 8. That would be a combination of Pirate wins and San Francisco Giant losses.
Right.
To so if the Giants lose tonight, we won
7
today, then we
or
get on to
6.
7. So, and that's just to secure a spot. But the Pirates are in a position right now to battle the Cardinals for the division title, and I do believe that the Pirates are going to come out on top. I don't think that St. Louis has the bench that we have. We've got Clint Hurdle's masterful in the way he pulls people in and out of the lineup. Everybody's involved. Everybody's contributing. He starts Travis Snyder today. Well, what's he do his first time up? He hits a single and 2 RBIs.
Yeah.
You're saying, why are you starting him?
Well, luckily they pulled him out, so
Yeah, they pulled him out, so starting him
that
on
was
the
good.
game.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, there's a guy that had diarrhea.
But,
They come into the game, so you got to give him credit.
This is something that Alan and I have grown up and were accustomed to in the 60s and the 70s, watching the Pirates contend for the division championship through the month of September. Now we're here at the end of the September. We're down to the last 20 games of the season. We won the first game today. Second game's being played. And, I feel really good about the direction that this team's going in. And, I'm just looking forward for the next 2.5 weeks. Going to be a lot of fun baseball. And it reminds me of growing up all over again.
Well, that's the nice part about it. Now, I didn't believe at the beginning of the season that they could win a division. I'm starting to see a couple little chips, no pun intended, in this iron wall that St. Louis had.
The red wall.
Yeah, they actually look, and you watch a lot of baseball, some teams look energized, like the Pirates. The Cardinals, when you watch them, they look like they're tired. And I don't know if it's the whole team, but it's just a different change from what we saw the first half of the season and part of after the All-Star game.
Well,
Did you notice anything like that?
Yes, I have.
Right.
And if you look at the Pirates bench and what Clint Hurdle has done, is he is getting a chance to rest some of his players, whereas the Cardinals have had so many key players hurt that there are players that have been playing, and he hasn't had really the opportunity to rest them the way that they need to be fresh. Because what you need right now, what would you rather have? A good baseball team or a well-rested baseball team? A well-rested baseball team is going to get you further from mid-September through October than a good baseball team, because you're whipping the horses and they've only got so much gas in the tank. But, it's going to be interesting. I know we've got a 3-game series here in Pittsburgh against St. Louis. Next to the last series of the season, we wrap it up with Cincinnati. We've got the 4 games against Chicago. I tell you, it'll be some good baseball to watch this weekend, because we're going out west and we're playing the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we're going to be facing Zach Greinke, who will be the Cy Young Award this year. We will be facing Clayton Kershaw. So we're going to see their 2 best pitchers. I heard something really interesting on the radio today regarding the Los Angeles Dodgers. After they traded for Chase Utley, the Los Angeles Dodgers payroll for this season is $300 million.
Wow.
Okay?
And where are
$300 million. Wait a minute. Now they owe to players that are no longer on their roster $900 million in guaranteed contracts for people that don't even play on the team anymore. And because they are so far over where the luxury tax line is, the Los Angeles Dodgers at the end of the year have to pay $44 million that will be split up among the other 29 teams in the major leagues for going over the luxury tax.
Did you hear that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
You can check those numbers, Mike and Jim? Those are big numbers.
So here's my point. Is them spending all that money going to bring them a championship? And I'm fairly,
You got the answer. That's too easy.
I'm fairly certain that the last 6 games we played against the Dodgers, I believe we're 6-0.
And on that happy note, let's go Buccos. We got some boxing. Zach Brenner's in the bullpen since it's still Bucco season. He's ready to talk some boxing.
I mean, well, when you want to talk about the Who Can Mexican, I mean, who better than, one of the original guys. I met these 2 gentlemen, 2 out of the 3 to my right, at one of these events where I was in charge of the safety for about 2,500 screaming, crazy, drunken Mexicans, and we never had any incidents. We never had any incidents. We never had. I was including everybody as a whole. Everybody.
I count that.
Okay.
There may have been 3,000 because I was there.
Well, Sammy Vasquez, I feel like a majority of us, we've been around for a majority of the ride, and for almost half of his fights locally, I've been at. And I don't know if I'm going to get to make it up to Cal or not, but on Fox Sports 1, I'm going to probably flick it on. Jason Bergman, the Iron Man, is on the
You know what? I just interrupt you. I got an update earlier, and he's fighting the first fight, Jason Bergman. So
Is it 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock?
No, it started at, 6:30.
6:30.
Because the college kids, they got to study. I mean, that's why
They
they're
study,
Italian.
tell you?
Yeah, I'd study
Some
a lot
of them do.
it.
Smoking Jim never made it the first time he went for a degree. We've researched that, and I have 10 verifications on that. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to let you know. I did find that out. He was the first.
And
fight.
further, but we would have been more involved with this fight card had it not been on a Monday, the weigh-ins, and Tuesday night. Obviously, we got Monday and Tuesday night shows, so we haven't been able to participate in this fight like we normally would be, and everything building up to it. But I'm pretty confident that Sammy's gonna, go to 19-0, and Jason Bergman's probably already fought. Monty Meza Clay. Also
Yeah.
fights on this undercard tonight. So
And hold it, Monte Eberhardt's supposed to be on the
Is
card.
he?
Isn't he on this card? He's fighting.
well, then I would imagine that he's going to probably lead off first, and then you'll probably
Well,
get the
no,
Iron Man
Bergman's
on it.
leading off. I got the inside word. Bergman led off with the first fight, and I'm not sure of the rest of the order except for Sammy. And it
We
was
know
coming
Sammy's
out late
last.
this afternoon. Well, we know that because of TV. So everything in between. And Amonte's fighting a guy that's 6-0, and this is his third fight, so it's a pretty tough fight for him.
Well, Al Heyman doesn't have any love for anybody from southwestern Pennsylvania. Shout out to Tommy Carpensy, who fought Adonis Stevenson last Friday night, and came up short, got knocked out in the third round, but showed a lot of heart. That's one common denomination with all of these fighters in southwestern Pennsylvania. They got a lot of heart. We don't got a lot of victories or championships, but we got a lot of heart. And Stevie Showtime Upshur fought on the Floyd Mayweather undercard on Saturday night, and he also lost a decision, but was very competitive, was in it. Definitely going to get another shot down the line here, another big shot. So I just, these guys just got to keep chipping away, Smoking Jim, keep working on the, the road work. Don't get discouraged.
Yes, sir.
Lift harder, do everything that they possibly can. I know that Buzzy has Stevie in phenomenal shape and conditioning, and one last thing in the boxing thing, Floyd Mayweather now tied all-time great Rocky Marciano at 49-0. So shout out to the pretty boy, as I call him. He's now Money, but a lot of people hate on Money Mayweather. But go check out who he fought to get to 49-0. He wasn't fighting tomato cans, that's for sure. He might not have fought people when you wanted him to, but it doesn't matter, because if I was in charge of any of your kids, I would make sure that if I knew somebody,
How many number
we'd
one
wait.
contenders did he fight?
We'd wait.
That's
We'd wait.
always
Don't
a good
hate.
question. This
We
debate will
wait.
continue another time, because a lot of the things he does outside of boxing, it's not the way. You don't want your kids to grow up that way.
That's a
Maybe
fact.
even Zach doesn't. But we'll find that out someday. What I want to at least mention is, with the boxing in Pittsburgh, it's truly back. You got to give all these guys credit. Whether it's a generation that's fighting now, they're on national TV. I mean, that's so great, because we haven't seen that except for a fighter or two, like the Pittsburgh Kid and a couple others. But they're on national TV almost every month. So congratulations to all those boxers and trainers in Pittsburgh. My hat goes off to you. And what we're looking for is the next generation through the amateurs and what they're doing. There's a lot of great trainers out there. If you have kids that don't know what sport they want to be in, check out some of the gyms in our area. They're just fantastic. That's it for our show. Thank you. Stay Joey strong.